Tartaria is a rabbit hole that if you're interested, you can check out that episode with Ben. It's an idea that supposes that history is not a little bit different than what we've been taught, but a lot different. And it came onto my radar originally because of my interest in these buildings. And one of these buildings actually exists in the city that I'm from, Edmonton, Canada. There's a beautiful building there, the provincial legislature. And that building is a identical copy of the state capitol building in Montana and the state capitol building in Iowa and St. Paul's Cathedral in London. And they're all sort of thought to be kind of around the same age. Edmonton's a weird one because it's one of the most inhospitable places in the world. And at the time that building is said to have been built, it was like a one-horse town with kind of 15,000 people who would have been really just struggling to survive. And then they just up and decided to build this like really incredible building. And so digging into these buildings, and so these buildings are everywhere. They're all over the U.S. They're all over Argentina, Japan. It's actually a style of architecture that is all over the world. And
what would it be called? Gothic, or there's a term for it?
Yeah, I think they would fall into a few different names. You know, there's kind of like the Baroque period. Some Gothic, Victorian kind of. So these buildings are just thought to have all kind of been built during that time in the 18th century, but a lot of them have like very difficult to believe construction timelines. We still have the information about when those buildings were said to have been built. And, one of the weird ones would be like the state capitol building in Iowa, which I think there was like 3,000 people in the entire state of Iowa when they said they built it. And they say they knocked that building out in 1840, I think, in like 2 or 3 years. And it's like, 50,000 tons of granite. Like they're really insane because we also have all the measurements of like
this is the state capitol in Iowa.
Yeah, so all of these state capitol buildings are really interesting, and because we stare at them all the time and just kind of assume what we've been told is true, but the precision in how they were built and the materials required to build them and the mathematics. So to build buildings that heavy takes a lot of preparation and thought. And master masons and master architects. And, so where did all these people train? Where did all the architects train? And so actually you can Wikipedia any of these things and there will be a blurb about these builders, and often the builders are...
That's the state capitol.
The builders are...
Dude, there's stuff like this all over the world. Oslo...
Prague.
Yeah,
it's
and then the World Fair.
Yeah, so the builders are often attributed to have done 50 of these buildings in 30 years, and they started at 20 with no formal training. So the suggestion, I don't know about that one specifically, but some of them will say, yeah, George Wilson built that. It was his first building. He was 20, and it's like, okay,
how good was the gold standard?
Totally. Yeah.
Hard money versus limp money. Dude.
Yeah. Wow.
So to make a long story short, the idea behind Tartaria is that there are a lot of older maps that show a country called Tartaria in what is modern day Russia
or civilization or a country.
Yeah. And maps, it's funny we're talking about maps. Maps had to be accurate. In nautical times, the map maker's career hinged on the accuracy of a map. So it's odd that there are many maps that reference this country or civilization, and our current history books have no record of it. And so the theory is that this architecture that's found all over the world is actually indicative of that culture, which has been entirely removed from history. And the idea is, the problem is these buildings potentially predate, Christopher Columbus or, so that history is a lot different.
Wow. And what's the motive there? Just
Yeah. So
Put us all into this energy sucking matrix that we're going to keep us on a grid.
where I first got interested in it and why I think it's interesting is we've been told the cathedrals are just places of worship. And the suggestion is that embedded in a lot of these architectural patterns are their energy machines.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Duomo in Milan would be one of these. And like the organ was actually like a critical component in a machine that could have been for sound healing or for actual atmospheric energy harvesting. So the domes in the state capitol buildings often have like a spire on the top that might have something that's empty in the middle now, like a pedestal sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And there's actually old drawings where they have like machinery. There's something in there that's been removed. And, so uncoincidentally, those buildings today are all government buildings. The government took all those buildings, potentially took all the tech out.
And the destruction of bells.
And the bells. Yeah, bells are another piece of it. And so the idea is that this society has been wiped because they had figured out how to use architecture to harvest free electricity from the atmosphere for everyone.
Wow.
And there's a lot there. So
it's a fun one. I brought it up to you a couple of times. It's definitely one of these things when you first see it, and like I follow some Twitter pages. It's like, I get things fly across my feed. At first you're like, yeah, okay, that's interesting and whatever. The more I've been thinking about it, the more I've kind of come to a place where I'm like, I don't know if what's true or not. Like it's just kind of fractured my belief set entirely. Like,
it's plausible.
There is like an impossible. Many of these buildings have timelines that are impossible, even to recent. Like Ben and I talked about. The Empire State Building was said to have been completed in 400 days. 400 days.
Wow.
That's the official story.
403 days, I think. But
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you look at pictures of the World Fair from
Just think about that for a second. I mean, in the Empire State Building, I finished. Like, it is immaculate on the inside. Mm-hmm. The finishings. In addition to like the size of the building it is and whatever. Like,
so that would have meant that, according to this theory, that the Empire State Building existed before we even arrived, we being Christopher Columbus arrived in the United States.
So maybe not all those buildings are that old, but certainly some of them. So some of these old maps have a city called Chilaga that is on exactly where Chicago is now. That is like a Chinese map from 1400 or something. And yeah.
Trippy.
Yeah. I think
it's a fun rabbit hole, I will say.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an interesting idea. I think like, Bitcoin fixes the idea that history itself could be corrupted. So this is a really cool thing that maybe not most Bitcoiners are excited about.
And after going through the past 5 years and seeing all the distortion in the current news cycle, it gives me a lot more pause when I hear an idea like that. I'm like, well, maybe. If it's so distorted over the past 5 years, how distorted is it over the past several hundred?
Yeah. I mean, people can disagree about things that have happened while we've been alive. Mm-hmm. Imagine how easy it is to just go back slightly further.
Wow. Hope we get some of that free energy harvesting, because that would be really good for the Bitcoin price.
Well, the hash rate will expose it. I think if the government's hiding some energy technology in Area 51 or whatever, some diabolical overlords reset history and gave us this lie, like they are heavily incentivized to figure out how to use that to mine Bitcoin, and it would show up in the hash rate.
Yeah. And then if that goes into industrial use, the purchasing power would absolutely explode, because free energy, is there a bigger increase to productivity than that? Even if it's not free, if it is near zero cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be 0 point. We could just be harnessing it. Like, I don't know, it's common knowledge. You could get on any YouTube, History Channel, whatever. Tesla made a device that was harnessing electricity from the ether, and it got destroyed. They took all his work. He died poor.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's even an interesting one. Like, There are only 3 photos of Tesla,
Really?
and there's no video of him. And he lived in a time, we have lots of video of Albert Einstein. And I've seen it suggested that Tesla might not have been a real person.
Interesting.
And like there's more people than just Tesla in the past that this is thought of. But it's very odd for a person of his significance that there would be, and everyone only sees the 3 photos. There's one when he's old. There's one where he's kind of like, it's like a professional portrait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, gosh, there's just endless rabbit holes. Another one's the moon landing. It's like he realized that the moon landing was very
You're really going for it now,
probabilistically fake. It just starts, it's one of these things where you just have this cascading ripple effect of like, well, what is real?
That one seems pretty fake to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we could do it today.
Yeah, no, I think like this is where it's cool is like, can we get to a place where as a civilization, we have a baseline expectation that things make sense?
A true record of history. That would be a nice start, right?
Yeah, that'd be a big deal. I find it insulting thinking about the pyramids or these cathedrals built by people who were
didn't know
walking over piles of shit in their muddy streets.
Totally.
It's just, it's
hadn't solved the problem
preposterous.
of toilet paper, but
Yeah.
they could, it's just like totally insane.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money. And be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.